Today I'm going to teach you how to use the easy stovetop method to temper chocolate for dipping your biscotti. When you buy a chocolate bar from the store, it's already been tempered. It's glossy, it's firm, it's perfect. But when you melt it because you want to dip something in it, such as biscotti or chocolate-covered strawberries, you're changing the chemical balance in the chocolate. And if you don't do this with hitting certain temperature points, you'll end up with chocolate that won't set, is sticky and tacky to the touch, and doesn't shine. And eventually, as it dries, it will bloom. It's a little white, powdery cover on. There's nothing wrong with it. You can eat it. You could actually retemper a bloomed piece of chocolate. There are three methods that you can do: the stovetop method, microwave, or the professional. Professional takes you through a number of steps of heating. Heating, holding, and then reheating. It's a little bit complicated, and for a homemade recipe where hopefully your biscotti isn't going to last that long, this method is fine. The first thing we do is we take the chocolate and we chop it all up into small pieces. The smaller the pieces, the faster it will melt. I have 3/4 of my chocolate here and 1/4 here, and I'll just show you how I chop this. Just turn the board and give it another rough chop the other way. This is ready, but I'm going to put this on the side because we're going to add this once the other chocolate melts. To melt chocolate using the stovetop method, you need a double boiler. I don't have one. I just don't have enough room to have another specific pot and pan. But what you can do is just take a regular saucepan and find a bowl where it fits snugly on top. It's just very nice and tight, and the water's going to leak out. Fill the pan about 1/3 full, 1/3 to 1/2. You do not want the water to touch the bottom. You're going to have some steam there, but you don't want the boiling water to touch because that will cook it too fast. So bring your water to a boil, put your pan on top. I like to use the glass because the glass will hold the heat a little longer. It keeps the chocolate soft, although it stays soft for quite a while. Put this on top, and then this will slowly start to melt and will stir continuously. But the reason that you don't want to have any moisture get into the chocolate is you'll have a chemical reaction and the chocolate will seize if the water gets in there. And what that means is that it thickens and hardens, and you can't retrieve it. You would have to throw it out and start all over again. And I have several bars of chocolate in here. We don't want to have to throw that away. Hope I didn't jinx myself there. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put this on top. We're going to bring this to a boil, continue to stir until it's all melted. When that's done, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to wipe the bottom off so that it's nice and dry. Then I'm going to take this chopped chocolate and stir it in here, and that will lower the temperature a little, and once that's all melted, I'm ready to use this for dipping. So here we go. We're going to start melting. This is going to come to a boil. This is going to slowly start to melt. You're going to stir. But you must also check the temperature. We're looking for this to be at 91 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can use a candy thermometer, which very handily has where you want to say where it has melted chocolate and then a dipping temperature. So you would stick that in. But this is hard to keep on the side. It's a shallow bowl. There's nothing really to clip it to. I really prefer what's called an infrared thermometer. And you just use this, and it takes the surface temperature with a little red dot. And you know that the surface temperature is good because you're stirring constantly. So the heat is being distributed evenly, and that temperature should be pretty much the same all the way through. These are easily purchased. Amazon.com is where I got mine. And that's what it's called, infrared thermometer. And it's only for surface temperatures. I believe this is an auto mechanics tool where they would test the temperature of an engine, but it comes in handy in the kitchen too for custards and a variety of other things that I use it for. Bring the water to a boil, start melting, stirring pretty constantly, gently though, because another thing besides water that will seize your chocolate is vigorous stirring. Doesn't care for that too much. So gently stirring, melting, 91 degrees, and then we're ready to take it off, dry the bottom, and put in the rest of the chocolate. What you want to be careful is that once you come to a boil, get it down to a simmer. I've got a lot of steam here, and that's not good. So I'm just going to let this settle down, because this is a hot plate and not my gas stove. It's a little harder to control. There we go. There we go. Very gentle simmer now. Not so much steam. Really important to avoid that moisture. Proper temperature. So remove the bowl, wipe any moisture from the outside, and you'll notice you may still have a few little pieces in there, but that's okay. It's going to melt anyway. So now I'm going to add the rest of the chocolate. And stir until this melts. And again, the smaller the pieces that you have, the faster it will melt. Now we have nicely melted, beautiful chocolate here. This is ready, and now you would begin to dip your biscotti in. But before we start dipping, I want to show you how to drizzle, just in case you want to get a little fancy. I have here just an ordinary, narrow drinking glass filled with a sandwich-sized Ziploc bag, a ladle. I'm just going to pour that in there. Take this out, seal it, all that air out too. A few of these are the almond butter gluten-free biscotti that we made in a different video. You want to cut the smallest. I'm going to put my glasses on for this because you want a very, very tiny, tiny little piece. Cut off the end. Remember, you can always make the hole bigger. And here we go. And we're done. So you just keep lining them up and drizzle as you see fit. And we're going to also show you in another video how to temper white chocolate and use that with another biscotti. And we'll also bring this back and put some white chocolate on there so you can see that you can really go crazy with this. But this is how you would drizzle chocolate on your biscotti. To dip, just tap a little excess crumbs. Crumbs are going to get into the chocolate. There's nothing you can do about that. There's two different ways. You can do it so that it's covered lengthwise halfway by dipping just like this. And then hold it up. And let the excess chocolate drip off. If you want to, you can take a little spatula or table knife and just kind of help it along just a little bit. But if you don't do this, the chocolate will pool, and then you'll have little chocolate edges hanging off. This is just a little prettier presentation. Set that down. So we'll do a few, half a dozen, like this. One of the reasons I like to dip this way, it's a pretty presentation, but it means that every single bite of the cookie, you get some chocolate too. Where if you dip the chocolate this way halfway, half the cookie doesn't have chocolate on it. And sometimes you miss that. Now Now I'm going to change, and I'm going to just dip this in so that it only covers half of the cookie. I'm going to tip the bowl so it gets a little bit deeper. If you find that you can't dip this as far in as you want, you can pour this into like a small, like a juice glass, so that it's narrow on the sides but deep, and that way you can get more depth for the chocolate. I'm just shaking there because there's some crumbs. Really trying to keep the chocolate as clean as I can. Now, if you see this and you're saying, oh my goodness, I don't want to do that, it's just too much work, then just take the chocolate that's recommended for the dipping, chop it up, put it in the recipe when you put the fillings in, when you put the almonds in here. Just put the chopped up chocolate in, and that way you'll have chocolate in the cookie and you don't have to do the dipping if you don't want to. We have our 2 dozen biscotti all dipped. Now they should go in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. This helps the chocolate set. So we'll be back in 15 minutes. Here's the biscotti. It's nice. It's all set. It's not tacky. They're all dipped and ready to go. Just 15 minutes in the refrigerator. If a really hot day, it may take you a little bit longer. That's really about it. They come right off. And they're there. This brings our video on tempering chocolate to an end. I've got a variety of biscotti here that we have dipped in different ways and we've drizzled. I've combined both the easy stovetop method and the microwave method on one platter here. The gluten-free almond butter biscotti has been dipped in dark chocolate, and that was using the stovetop method. And the red velvet has been dipped in white chocolate using the microwave method. And I wanted to show you that you can drizzle, and we've drizzled the almond biscotti with both the chocolate and the vanilla. So watch our videos. We've got easy stovetop method and we've got the microwave method. If you've missed any of these videos, check out my playlist here, and check out the book Honey Pie's Recipes, Ultimate Biscotti, 75 sweet, savory, and gluten-free recipes. And you can buy the book here. Check out my book, Ultimate Biscotti, sweet, savory, and gluten-free. I think I can remember the name of my book.